Introduce my husband, Mr. Ian Gomez.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everybody, and good evening sa lahat. Tonight or this afternoon, we're going to talk about, going to discuss this evening or afternoon is what is mutual fund, why mutual fund, and how to start mutual fund. Okay. So what is mutual fund? Mutual fund is a company that pulls money from many investors and invests the money in securities such as stocks, bonds, and short-term debt. Ibig sabihin, ilan tayo nandito? We are 42 people here. So kung lahat tayo may tagwa 1,000 pesos, we pull that money together, lahat tayo tagi-1,000, so we have 42,000. And that 42,000, we put it in in the mutual funds that will be invest in securities or stocks or bonds or short-term debt. Kasi kung halimbawa isa ka lang and you only have 1,000 pesos, hindi naman ka makakapaglagay sa mutual fund or konti lang ang makukuha mong shares for that. That's why we pull the money together and then invest it in the securities. So the combined holdings of the mutual fund are known as its portfolio. And investors, we buy shares in mutual funds. Ngayon may tanong ako. Since sinabi na, I mentioned here that the mutual fund or the combined holdings of all of us investors, nagsabi na yes, pareho tayo ng portfolio. That's true. Pareho tayo ng portfolio. Magkakaiba lang tayo sa number of shares because that will depend on the amount of money that you put in dun sa pool na ininvest para sa securities na yun.
Kumbaga ang labanan, gaano kadami yung shares, doon tayo magkakatalo.
Doon tayo magkakatalo.
Meron iba 1 million, iba 1,000, di ba? Okay.
So yan ang mutual funds. Now, since tinanong ko yung portfolio na yun, your portfolio in stock market, let's say you invested in the stock market, is your portfolio the same as my portfolio to choose what company you can invest on? While in the mutual funds, basta't nilagay mo yan dun sa pool of money, ang nag-handle niyan, yung fund manager, kung saan ilalagay na saan companies ilalagay or i-invest yung pool of money. Okay, you can buy ownership or you can have ownership in different companies depending kung saan nilagay ng ating fund manager yung naipon na pera from different investors. So nandyan yung mga kilala nating companies in the Philippines like Jollibee, URC, Philippine Airlines, Meralco, San Miguel. So pag naglagay ka ng money sa mutual fund na yan at ininvest yan ng fund manager, you will have ownership in those different companies and you will have number of shares. And if you put your money in a mutual fund, syempre kailangan niyang long-term. Long-term mo ilalagay kasi lagi nga sinasabi, time is your ally when it comes. So we have solutions for a new industry. Mutual funds, money cost averaging. Ano daw ang ibig sabihin ng money cost averaging? So money cost averaging is a strategy to systematically purchase shares at a constant amount invested in a specific time interval of offsetting investment risk. So ang sinasabi niya, to explain it further, every month, if you put money in your mutual fund, make it consistent. Make it every month. Let's say you invest 1,000 pesos every month in your mutual fund that you have selected. Make sure that every month you will put the same amount of money, it can be more, in that mutual fund para nun talagang lalaki ang yung number of shares and at the same time, you offset the investment risk. Yan ang tinatawag na cost averaging. Maybe because this month, nung naglagay ka ng 1,000 sa mutual fund, the share cost, let's say, 100 pesos per share. So pag naglagay ka ng 1,000, you will only have 10 shares. And maybe next month, the cost is just 50 pesos per share. So the following month, magkakaroon ka ng 20 shares. So bumababa ang cost averaging niya or how much you paid for the shares that you have bought. So ayan, not timing is a better ally to build wealth for the family. So yan yung in-explain ko kanina. Ano? Let's say the first month you put 100 pesos and then the price per share is 100. So 100 you divide it by 100, you will have accumulated 1 share. And then the second month, again, you put 100 and that time 50 pesos yung halaga. You divide it by 50, 2 shares, and so on until you reach more than 6 months or how long you want to invest. Basta constantly you put the same amount or maybe more on your mutual fund. So ang mangyayari dyan is that you will accumulate stocks. You will accumulate shares. Okay. So dito sa example natin, you will have 18 shares. If you multiply that by 50, because at the 6th month, the price per share is 50. So 18 times 50, you will have 900. You will have 900. And then you subtract the 600 that you invested, natago 100 every month for the next 6 months. So magkano lahat ng kinita mo? Kumita ka na 300. So nag-gain na kaagad yung ininvest from 600, it became 900. That's why constantly we are encouraging you to constantly put the same amount every month. You need to know your risk. So let's say, see, Mr. One has 100 per month to invest, and we'll look at 3 scenarios. So which one will be doing better? Scenario number 1, first month is that the price per share is 10 pesos. And then, so 100 niya, 100 divided by 10, how many is that? Ilan? 10. Right? So every month, nag-iiba yung price per share. Ang total, if he invested for 6 months, so the total shares will have 42.28 following the graph that we have. And then the total share price at 20 pesos. So you multiply that, the total value is 845.60. Your total contribution in 6 months is 600. So 845 minus 600, you'll have 245.60 gain, which is 41% over 6 months or 6.8% per month. Now, second scenario, tignan natin pag nagbago yung graph or pag nagbago yung price per share. Let's say the price per share fluctuates on a monthly basis. Mataas ngayon, bababa next month, tapos tataas ulit the following month. So again, you do the same thing. The amount of money that you will invest, which is 100 per month, you divide it by the price of the share, you will get the number of shares per month. And then you add them all up, you multiply it by the price of the share dun sa huling month mo, so 85.25 shares times 10, you will get a total of 852.50. So again, you subtract your total contribution of 600, you gain 252.50, which is 42% over 6 months or 7 months. And then the third scenario, ganun din. Bumaba ngayon yung price ng stock and then slowly it is gaining. Do the same thing. You divide your amount of investment by the price of the share up to the 6th month. So total shares will have 257.22 times 4.45, which is the current price. Total value is 1,157.49. Less 600, again, contribution mo, nag-gain ka na ng 557.49, which is 92.9% over 6 months or 15.5% per month. Now, the question is, kailan ka maglalagay ng pera sa mutual fund? Pag ba mababa ang price ng share or pag mataas ang price ng shares? Tingnan natin nga.
Sabi mo kanina, peso cost average. Tingnan natin ang sagot.
Kasi nag-fluctuate, di ba? Nagbabago ang ano.
So based on the 3 scenarios daw po, when is the best time to put in money for this sa mutual funds daw po? Base dun sa na-discuss daw po natin, when is the best time? So yun daw po yung question. Nandyan pa po ba? So far, we're 53 now. Low. So kapag low daw, dun daw tayo maglalagay sa low.
Sa low.
Si Ma'am Heidi, all scenarios, Sir Renel, pag mababa.
Pag mababa. Pag mababa, advantage yon. Pag mataas, maglalagay ba tayo?
Pag ako hindi.
Pag ikaw hindi. Pag sila, maglalagay ba sila?
Sila all.
All.
Sana all. All.
Yes, whether, tulad ng sinabi ko kanina, di ba? The amount that you invest a month, you do it consistently every month, regardless whether mataas ang price per share or mababa ang price per share. Siyempre, mas mababa ang price per share, mas marami kang makukuhang number of shares. But kung bababa rin siya, hindi mo rin siya pwedeng ibenta lang basta. But it will all depends on the number of shares that you have accumulated. Kaya sa mutual funds, every month, as much as possible, the amount of investment that you put, like 1,000 pesos every month, you do it consistently. Para nun, talaga nag-accumulate yung number of shares mo. What you're buying is the shares, the number of shares. Regardless whether mataas ang price or mababa ang price, as long as you are accumulating the number of shares.
Peso cost averaging, no?
Yeah. And when you are investing in mutual funds or any other investment, you need to first know your risk appetite. Importante yan, di ba? Risk appetite. Ikaw ba, Je? Anong risk appetite mo?
Ako, feeling ko more of aggressive ako eh.
Aggressive.
Kasi bata pa eh, di ba? So parang sige lang, habang may trabaho po, sinasamantala, minamaximize na pag may konting sobra, instead na ilagay mo sa mga sale, pang shopping, dun ka na lang. Kasi ngayon, continuous ang sale sa stock market. So ako, aggressive ako. I'm the type of aggressive siguro.
So you need to know your risk appetite. How much money you can put, and at the same time, how much money are you willing to lose? Hindi naman kasi lahat yan gain eh. You can lose, lalo pa kung hindi mo alam yung nilalagay mong company, pinaglalagyan mo ng investment mo, and if you don't know your risk appetite. So there are 3 kinds of risk appetite. Either be conservative, moderate, or aggressive. Sa mga conservative, kailangan you invest your money solely in treasury bills and notes, sa high-grade commercial papers and other interest-bearing instruments. Yung mga government bonds, yan ang mga conservative kind of investing. And then if you are moderate risk, you invest in a basket of blue chips and growth stocks, then government securities, other fixed income securities. May growth yung fund, and at the same time, yung return mo, a little bit riskier compared to being conservative. Pwede ka mag-gain, but pwede ka rin matalo. Then finally, aggressive. Aggressive is for long term. So growth-oriented, mutual fund invested in blue chips and growth companies and fixed income securities. So mga tipo ng aggressive is you invest in the stock markets, you invest in equities, securities na equities. So there are types of mutual funds. So the bond fund, the balance fund, and the equity fund. So ano ang mga differences nitong mga funds na to. It depends also, again, on your risk. So bond fund, ito yung dito ka pwede maglagay because this is conservative. Low risk to.
Para siyang time deposit. No?
Yes, low risk, but syempre yung gain also low gain.
Yes.
Low risk, low gain. High risk, high gain.
Yes.
And it can also be high loss.
Mm-hmm.
So sa bond fund, invest solely in treasury bills, tulad ng sinabi natin kanina, and notes, high-grade commercial papers, and other interest-bearing instruments. Kaya doon natin if you're conservative, you invest your money sa bond fund. If you're conservative now, if you're moderate naman, then balance fund. Tulad ng sinabi natin kanina, di ba? Low risk, low gain. High risk, high gain. So sa balance fund, kaya sinabing balance, you can balance the risk and you can balance the gain or the loss. So invest in a basket of blue chips and growth stocks, government securities, and other fixed income securities. Sa equity fund naman, ito naman ang high risk. So dito volatile yan. High risk, high gain, or high risk, high loss as well. Sa equity fund, you put your money there for a long term. So kung hindi mo naman kailangan yung pera, you invest in equity fund. Let's say ang pang-college ng anak mo, you want to gain money or makapag-save ka na ng money pang-college ng anak mo. Let's say your child is only 2 years old, 4 years old. Ilan years pa yan bago siya mag-college. So you have 10 to 15 years before mag-college pa yung anak mo. So you can put your money, invest it in an equity fund on a long-term basis kasi hindi mo naman siya kakailanganin pa. But if you will need the money anytime soon, then lagay mo lang sa short-term bonds. Tulad nung, I just want to share nung 4 years ago nung umuwi ako, I was able to accumulate a certain amount of money at pambabayad dapat namin dun sa real estate or dun sa lot na kinuha namin ni Jet. But we decided, dahil medyo na-delay yung lot na yon, nagpunta ako sa BPI and opened a mutual fund. Ang sabi sa akin nung manager, sir, kakailanganin mo ba to in the next few months? Kasi if you need it in the next few months, wag mong ilagay sa long-term, long-term facility, wag mong ilagay sa equity fund. Kasi nga, you will need it soon, you have to pull it out. So it depends kung kailan mo kailangan yung pera. Next to your appetite risk. Syempre, kung kailan mo kailangan yung pera.
So review daw natin. Una po, yung sinabi niya na risk profile, no? Actually, meron po yan sa website. Pag nag-open po kayo, pag pumunta po kayo sa Ramper, makikita niyo yan doon. So may recommendations. Let's say, tatanungin ka rin, ikaw ba, ano yung appetite mo for that risk? So kailangan alam mo. After na alam mo yung appetite mo for the risk, the next thing po na mahalaga is alam mo yung timeline mo. Magre-retire ba to after 5 years, after 10 years? So these are the things na importante. For what reason po, no? Kasi you have to factor in what if nagkaroon ng crisis, baksak. Yun pala, pang-college ng anak mo. So ibig sabihin, hindi ba siya magka-college? So these are the important factors po na alam natin yung risk at alam natin yung...
If you put it in a bond fund or the money market fund, stock fund, or balance fund. So if you put it in a bond fund, yung investment composition niya, it is a fixed income instrument. So your objective is stability plus reasonable growth. And the average earning is 6%. Pag sa money market naman natin nilagay, it's a short-term fixed income instrument. It is the stability plus minimal growth, 2%. So pag nilagay natin sa stock fund, you can see there that share of stocks, equity funds, and then long-term capital growth, 18%. Pag nilagay naman natin sa balance fund, it is a stocks and fixed income, It's medium to long term for moderate investors and 12%. So kung dyan lang, base lang dyan sa chart na yan, makikita mo na kaagad kung saan mo ilalagay yung pera mo, kung saan mo i-invest. Again, it depends on your risk, whether you are conservative, moderate, or aggressive. Pag aggressive, mataas ang gain, but it should be on a long-term basis. Pagka naman conservative ka, less growth, tulad ng money market fund, maliit lang ang gain, and it can be short-term. Okay. So, ano-ano yung mga mutual funds ano yung mga companies na nag-offer ng mutual funds? So there are Philam Asset, Soldivo Funds, Atram, tayo sa IMG, what we have?
Soldivo Funds, yeah.
Soldivo.
And all of the others. Kaya lang kasi yung Soldivo kasama na sa portal.
Mm-hmm.
Nakalagay na siya sa portal.
And pag nagpa-member kayo ng IMG,
may account
opening ka na kagad sa Soldivo, and you already have 1,000 pesos invested in Soldivo.
Yes.
Fun and investing. Unang-una, if you invested in mutual fund, sabi nga kanina, you own shares, part owner ka ng company, and now, sama-sama tayong mga investors, we pull the money and it's being invested. Ang maganda sa mutual fund, meron diversification. So diversification because more companies to invest, more shares of different companies. Kasi kung meron kang 1,000, yung 1,000 mo, kung ikaw lang, may invest mo lang yan siguro sa isa o dalawang company at ilan shares lang mabibili mo. But if you put it in a mutual fund, dahil pool of money ang nandun sa basket na yon, then it is being invested in different companies. Somehow, you are part owner of those different companies because you own shares. Then, professional management. It is the fund or the pool of money, it is managed by a fund manager. So yung fund manager, educated and expert plus experience doon sa paghawak niya ng pera. May tanong ako rito. Manager, siya yung piloto. Siya yung nagpapalipad ng eroplano at tayo yung mga pasahero. Tayo yung mga investors, tayo yung mga pasahero, tayo yung mga nakasakay lang at yung fund manager ang magdadala sa atin doon sa atin financial destination. So let's say if you are living here in UAE or if you are in the Philippines and then you want to go to the UAE or vice versa, you want to go to the Philippines from the UAE. Siyempre, sisiguraduhin natin na ang piloto natin from UAE dadalhin tayo sa Pilipinas. Hindi yung dadalhin tayo sa Hong Kong. Right? So, ganon ang gagawin ng fund manager sa pool of money na ininvest sa mutual funds. Okay. Then the ease and convenience, easy access, additional of 1,000 to put in your money at saka mag-cash out sa mutual funds. Of course, mutual funds is tax-free. Already subject to final withholding tax. Therefore, investors in mutual funds are no longer subject to tax. This is unlike sa stocks, pagka binenta mo yung stocks mo to cash out your money, magbabayad ka ng sales tax.
Yes.
And also in mutual funds, it is secure and safe. Securities and Exchange Commissions and Commission, Republic Act number 2629, Investment Company Act. So, basahin nga natin yan, Je. Ano yung Investment Company Act?
This one is the RA 2629 po, no? So sinasabi daw po dyan, there are some implementing rules and regulations na kung saan gino-govern niya ang mga mutual fund investment. We have to understand po na nasa under po tayo ng Security and Exchange Commissions. So hindi po tayo sa bangko. So kapag tinatanong tayo, no, gaano ba yan ka-secure? So ano yung mga entities, governing bodies na nag-check sa kanila? So tayo po, when it comes to mutual funds na pinaglalagay natin, SEC yan po, compliant po yan. And then when we talk about stability, so stability, gano'n na yan katagal? Ako nung lagi kong sinasabi, college days ko pa, si Kolay ko, no, madami na siyang puting buhok noon. So sa kanya ko narinig, but back then, it's 100,000. Syempre sa college po noong time na malaking amount of money yon. And when we talk about the safety nest po, ano po yung kanyang capital? So normally, we talk of millions and billions of money na meron po dito. So yan daw po yun. Okay.
So how to start mutual fund? Most of us here, being an IMG member, you already started your mutual fund kasi meron ka na kaagad 1,000 pesos sa suldibo when you become a member of IMG.
Yes, so with this one daw, no, automatic na siya, tapos very convenient at accessible po siya. Kaya talagang nire-recommend natin na as we become a member of IMG, yung kay Soldivo, kasi kasama na siya sa portal. Alam niyo po, minsan online, nagiging complicated din kasi let's say, no, nasa ibang broker ka, magla-login ka pa, titignan mo yung sa bangko, magla-login ka pa. When you log into your IMG portal, makikita mo na kaagad. So hindi ka na mahihirapan na log-in, log-out pa. Kag hindi mo siya i-diversified, but as a member of IMG, nandun na lahat, pati investment portfolio natin. So through Ramper Financials po, if you consider other investment facilities. Ako po, when I joined in 2009, ang una ko namin pinaglagyan is FAMI, yung First Metro Asset Investment. So yun daw po siya. We also have in PhilEquity. So these companies daw po kasi magsasubmit tayo ng form. So through Ramper po natin siya. Si IMG papasa natin, then si IMG ipapaprocess niya po kay Ramper Financials. So yan daw po siya. Okay. So yan yung kanilang Facebook page. So ano daw po dun sa dalawang yon? So yeah.
Ano ang high risk, ano ang low risk dyan sa dalawa?
Ano daw?
Siyempre, yung Soldivo Strategic Growth Fund, yan yung mas mataas ang risk, mas mataas ang gain on a long-term basis. Yung Soldivo Bond Fund, yan naman ang lower risk.
Correct. So dito daw po, no, pakita namin sa inyo on actual siya, let's say sa portal natin when we log in our portal. So kung titignan nyo po, no, ako na natatandaan ko when us Abu Dhabi scheduled nun, sabi ko 100,000 ngayon. I'm trying to put in for the 200,000 mark. So as you become a member of IMG, dapat daw po tayo, we walk the talk. Hindi pwedeng, ay, ang ganda po maglagay sa mutual funds, naglagay ka? Hindi. Ay, ano po, mababa ang presyo sa mutual fund, naglagay ka? Hindi. So, tandaan nyo po, you become a member of IMG because you believe. So, dapat we walk the talk. So, dito daw po, no, sabi ko nga po sa inyo, eto sa Soldivo natin, mag-click nyo lang po siya. Pagka-click nyo po sa kanya, ang makikita po natin dyan, dalawa. Merong Strategic Growth Fund, meron po tayong Soldivo Bond Fund. So, sinabi na po yun ni Sir Ian sa atin na ang sabi niya, kapag equity funds, go for a strategic growth fund. Kasi tignan niyo yung presyo. Kapag bond fund, medyo mas mataas piso po siya. Pero alam niyo po, this is a nice to know din, no? Medyo buksan natin, mag-dig in tayo ng konti. Na nagsimula ang pandemic, napansin niyo po ba, never naman siyang bumaba sa 1. So ako po, I would recommend, maglagay pa rin kayo sa bond fund. Okay pa rin po na may pera ka sa bond fund. Kasi parang ano yan para siyang time deposit, hindi siya bababa into 1, mas mababa sa 1. So far, hindi po. Ngayon, tignan naman po natin ang strategic equity funds. Paano po ba ang nagiging structure ng pera niya? Kasi kung papansinin nyo, less than 1 siya. Less than 1 po siya. So wait lang daw po. Ayan, lumilipat ako ng para ipakita ko daw sa inyo yung actual for Soldivo Strategic Growth Fund. So paano daw po yun? With this one po, no, right now, ang presyo lang po sa atin briefly, ano ang pros and cons naman when we talk about stock market and mutual funds?
Okay, so pros and cons of stock market and mutual funds. The stocks, ang stocks magsisimula ng 9:30 a.m. in Manila. until 1 o'clock. And during that time, dun ka lang pwedeng mag-trade. Unlike sa mutual funds, anytime you can invest. Based on information sa stocks, you need to learn or to study the technical and the fundamental analysis. Yung technical analysis, it's all about charts, while the fundamental analysis is yung what is the company all about. Unlike some mutual funds, you don't have to do all those things, or at least it is nice to know that you know something about the company, pero ang gumagawa niyan yung fund manager. So it is managed by professional management. Then the money, pagdating sa stocks, you have complete control over companies that you choose to invest. Ikaw ang pipili sa stocks. And you end up there by putting more money, because if you choose different companies, syempre, mas kailangan mo na mas maraming pera doon. Unlike some mutual funds, less amount and you avoid the trading cost. But you have no control on the companies that you will put your investment in. Kasi ang may control niyan, yung fund manager. So, yung charges, of course, broker's commission, nandyan, ilan percent? So, 0.25. VAT on commission is 12% or 0.2. And Securities Clearing Corporations of the Philippines, then the PSE fee. Pagka-selling naman, again, meron broker's commission, may VAT, may security clearing, at saka may PSE fee, plus kasama dyan yung sales tax. Kaya pag nagbenta ka ng stocks mo, mas malaki yung
No? Check ko lang ang aking login. Pakita mo sa kanila sa login shares. So, pwede po tayong mag-type ng mga questions. Sige daw po. And then, we're logging in din ng actual sa portal para mas makita nyo rin daw po yung portal natin. Para nun, if you are a new member, paano mo ba i-walk through yung portal, saan ka magsisimula, no? Paano po natin siya gagawin? So with this one daw po, no, let's say you log in. Pagka-log in po natin, so dito lang po siya, sa taas po siya kaagad. A few reminders po, no? Kapag tayo po ay member, tapos hindi ka renewed, eto lang yung dalawa dyan eh. Eto lang po ma-highlight, which hindi po yan recommended. Ibig sabihin, hindi ka pwedeng makadagdag, withdrawin mo lang yung shares mo doon. So sayang po. Kaya mahalaga na as a member, guided po tayo na we always make sure renewed yung ating membership. So this one point, sinasabi ko kanina, tignan po daw natin yung Soltivo Strategic Growth Funds. So yung presyo niya daw po, no? Sa presyo niya, tingnan po natin, let's say po, no, 2020, ito po yung height nung panahon ng pandemic. Nung sinabi niya kanina ni Sir Ian na ay maglalagay ka ba pag mataas? So far ako, naglagay ako, although nakita ko siya na mababa. So ngayon po, ang kagandahan kung naglalagay na kayo long term, somehow meron ka ng mga idea na ay alam ko pag crisis bumaba yan of a 0.57. Kaya lang, syempre, kung kung hihintayin mo yun, baka you'll end up hindi ka na makakapaglagay ng shares, tama?
Hindi ka na makakabili ng shares.
Hindi ka na makakabili. So sabi mo, ay hindi mo na ako maglalagay, hintay ko uli yung 0.57. Mula po ng 2020 of May, hanggang kasalukuyan, 2021 na April na tayo, hindi na siya bumalik sa 0.57.
Yes.
Kaya sabi ko, sige lang, lagay pa rin. Naglagay pa rin po ako, diba? And then this one po, kung natatandaan nyo, yan yung free na binigay sa atin ni IMG. Kaya daw dapat talaga may achiever mentality tayo. Kasi sayang yan, no? Biruin nyo, 10,000 pesos was equivalent to 14,850 shares. When we did daw po the FEV, mga nasa 100,000 pa lang ako noon. Sabi ko, ngayon gusto kong mapunta sa 200,000. And I'm challenging myself to do more in IMG para noon magawa natin na 1 million shares tayo this year. So kayo daw po, ano ang goal mo pagdating sa investment? Dadagdagan mo rin ba siya to reach 1 million? So kaya daw po maganda, meron kang 1 million dito. And then yung dito rin po sa ating bond fund, meron din po tayong numbers of shares doon. Madali lang pong mag-add subscription. Pagka-click nyo lang po dyan, kiosk 2 na po pupunta. lagay nyo lang po yung code nyo. Pagka-fill in nyo po ng code po natin, for as low as 500 pwede. Pipili lang po kayo. Will it be a strategic growth funds or a Soldivo bond fund? So ano daw po sa dalawa? Then after nyan, let's say po, growth fund tayo na strategic, lagay mo lang 500 pesos. Click nyo lang po yung next. Then pili na po kayo saan nyo po babayaran. So kaya maganda na do IMG business para yung Yura Cash mo, pwede mo palang magamit. Eh what if naman po gusto natin redemption? Kunyari, nakabili ka dito ng 0.57, gusto mo na i-redeem mo siya. So ang gagawin naman po natin, request for redemption naman po tayo. Pagka-click nyo po dyan, ilan po ang total shares na meron tayo lahat? 126,973. So dito daw po sa request redemption, pagka-click po natin doon, i-fill in lang natin yung mga details. Yung details po natin, ayan po, add redemption. So ibig sabihin, lagay mo yung date, pangalan mo, saang fund ka kukuha, strategic growth funds. Let's say out of your 120,000, kukuha ka ng mga 20,000 shares. So yan po siya. Then you have to sign. Kailangan daw po i-upload natin yung ating ID, then submit. Ganun po siya kasimple. Tapos mag-i-email po yan sa atin. Saan nyo po makukuha? Nasa Yura Cash na rin po siya. Okay. So yan daw po, no? Ganun daw po kasimple. Kasi kay IMG mas pinadali, mas